This is as close to Valentine's content as you are gonna get from me. Hope that's okay. So, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about all of the romances that I have on my own TBR. All of these books are available through Waypoint, so if you see anything that tickles your fancy, which is definitely a euphemism in this context, there will be links below for any of those books. So, I'm trying my hardest to promote my business without feeling cringe about it. Okay, so I've got a whole range of different romances. They are all on my own TBR. They're all things that I want to get to. Just haven't yet. Not a massive fan of romance. Not hating it as much as I thought I did, but there is definitely a particular type of romance that I get really into, and I don't just mean smart, but like a particular genre of romance that, I don't know, it just has to be good. It has to be good. So I buy romances all the time and then they just sit on my shelf for forever. So here are the romances that are on my own TBR. I don't think it needs any more clarification than that. So the first one I have is Take a Hint, Dani Brown. Now this has come up on 2 TBRs already and I just haven't prioritised it, which is stupid because I loved Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Talia Hibbert's writing is hilarious. I think it's so clever, and she always looks at something so much deeper than just the surface, superficial romance. So I appreciate that. Thanks, bud. So the first one, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, was about a girl who had fibromyalgia, so she was in chronic pain, and she decided after nearly getting hit by a car that she wanted to get a life and basically put her life together. This is about her sister Dani Brown. Now as far as I'm aware, Dani Brown is dealing with OCD and something else. Anyway, this is about Dani Brown, who is a PhD student, I think, bisexual, and isn't really interested in long-term romance until she meets the main interest, and I'm sure romance will ensue because it's a romance novel. This is the second in the Brown Sisters trilogy. Eve Brown comes out this year. If it hasn't come out already, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't got to this one yet. So once I've got to this one, I will move on to the next one. Then I have More Than Just a Pretty Face. I read 6 pages of this and then put it down again. This is from the perspective of the main character, Danielle, who doesn't, I mean it says on the back, doesn't lack confidence. He's an arrogant asshole, and basically he is obsessed with this girl. He wants to date this girl, but I think he befriends another girl to like help him get her attention. So I don't think it's like an enemies to lovers, but it's very much Fred and Velma type story is the vibe that I get from it, which is fine. I usually ship those two, but I think because it's from his perspective and he's an arrogant asshole, I have put it down once already. So we're not as excited for this one as we are for Dani Brown, because it's also compared to Becky Albertalli, and I was not a fan of what I've heard and read of hers, so we shall see. But essentially, yeah, it's that kind of romance where it's like, oh, I'll help you get the girl, and then secretly I will be the girl. You know, it's that kind of storyline. So we'll see. We'll see if I can motivate myself to read it again. It is a TBR card, so I will probably have to come back to it at some point, otherwise I'll have an empty slot in my book journal where I keep all my TBR cards once I've pulled them out. Another one that was a TBR card is The Worst Best Man. This is about a wedding planner who I think is getting married herself or is planning the wedding for someone, but her ex-boyfriend, who is the best man. So there's like a ex-lovers tiff romance there. I was gifted this by Kerry, or Care Bear she is on Twitter, I think, or Discord, and I put it on my TBR because I'm writing a romance set around weddings, and I used to work in the wedding industry, and the idea of a wedding planner, I really enjoyed the J-Lo film, so I'm hoping it's kind of like that, but yeah, haven't got to it yet. But all the others are pretty much new to my own shelves, so I feel less guilty, 1, about not knowing very much about them, and 2, for not having read them yet. We've got a couple by Nicola Gill. Now when I was looking up romances to try, Nicola Gill's name came up a lot, and she had 2 novels that had just come out, very much compared to Beth O'Leary, who wrote The Flatshare and The Switch, and Marianne Keyes, who is a renowned women's fiction romance writer. So first we have The Family. It says you can't choose family, but you can let them in. This, I think, is a romance / contemporary about sisters who are kind of very much caught up in their own worlds and their own lives, but then kind of come together to sort their shit out is the vibe that I get. So again, alright. Yeah? What's the matter? Oh. What does that mean? What? Really? Oh. Are you sulking now? I don't know if that means he likes this one or doesn't like this one. How do you feel? What do you think? Are you intrigued? No, not a fan? You don't really like women's fiction, do you? You prefer the sci-fis with the psychic cats. It's fine, bud. I didn't want to film a video today anyway. Is that better? Are you happy now? Okay, if I'm not sat in the same position I was sat in earlier. Soz for the continuity error. The second one, some women have it all, others are 34, rent a tiny flat alone because they recently found their long-term boyfriend in bed with their boss. The first half, I was like, oh, relatable. Second half, not so much, because that would be weird. So this is about two young women who are basically, yeah, again, trying to sort their lives out, sort out their romance stuff. So I guess these are slightly more contemporaries than they are romance, but they're in the romance genre bit. So, and they're Avon books. Avon's definitely a romance brand, so we shall see. Not as excited about these ones as I was when I first bought them. And not because they're contemporaries rather than romance. They definitely have those romance elements to them. It's just this season, man. It's my birthday on Friday and it's Valentine's Day on Sunday. And every year I'm like, I'm just going to watch horror movies where the boyfriend is the murderer. And then everyone's like, oh, Hannah, that's really bitter of you. And I'm like, it's not. I like being single. But it's like when you're on a diet and then everyone's talking about food and you're just like, look, I get it. I see the appeal, but can you just leave me the fuck alone? Which is not the vibe you wanted from a romance recommendations / list video. I get that. I know that when I say it like that, I'm like, you're back, huh? Who needs romance when you have a needy as fuck cat? I know it's the running joke that single women have cats. But it's because they're so fucking needy. We don't need a boyfriend as well. The next one is an LGBTQ romance that was recommended to me by Robbie from A Nose Stuck in a Book. This is about two young guys who fall in love. I'm pretty sure although it's a 2020 release in the UK, I'm pretty sure it was released earlier in Brazil because this is a Brazilian author. And what Robbie really liked about it is the plus size rep in this. Robbie said that he felt really seen by it, and I just think the way he was talking about it was so affectionate and with such like heart eyes, for lack of a better term. I just had to go out and get it. It is quite a short read and I think it's YA, so I'm hoping. I've got really high expectations for this just because having seen Robbie get so excited about it, that just filled me with warmth, so I'm really, really excited to start this one as well. Speaking about plus size rep, I have Big Bone by Laura Dockrell. I don't know anything other than it's meant to be a plus size romance. So meet Bluebell, aka BB, aka Big Bones. She's bold, beautiful and beginning her summer holiday, but instead of relaxing she's being forced to write a food diary, and she has a lot to say. Then an accident upturns her family and BB finds that it's not just the diary bringing unexpected change into her life. Max with the dimples. Will they ever move beyond latte art and chamomile tea? That last sentence doesn't really make much sense to me in the context of stuff, but I like it. Obviously trigger warnings, because I feel like this is going to be full of fat phobia by people around her, especially if she's having to watch her weight and start a food diary. I don't like that as a concept, but I like as a wider premise. But I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see her dump the diet, get the guy, and feel great in her body. That's what I'm expecting from this, and that's what I'm really, really excited for, so fingers crossed. Asking for a Friend. This is about three women, all in different stages of their romantic lives. One of them is grown up with a daughter, one is in her 30s, and one is in her 20s, but they can all agree on one thing: dating apps fucking suck. So they've decided they're going to ditch them, and they are going to try and wing women for each other. And I've heard really, really good things about this. Andy Osho is one of my favourite comedians. She's genuinely hilarious. She's done Live at the Apollo, and I've seen like a few of like her stand-ups, and it's just great. I love her on panel shows. I think she's fantastic. Yes, I think this is going to be laugh out loud funny, and with that romance element. I love that kind of rom-commy, you're going to make me laugh and make me cry potentially romance. It's just, love that. So definitely would recommend this one, even though I've not read it. I feel like I can do that because it's going to be great. The Honey Don't list, again, is another one that I'm really intrigued by. Christina Lauren is the person who brought us Inner Holidays and Unhoneymooners, so they are again enemies to lovers type romances, which I really enjoy. This is about a couple called the Trips who have built an entire brand on their marriage, except they can't fucking stand each other, and then the two main characters, Carrie and James, have to work with them on their book tour. And they also can't stand each other. And I'm like, double trouble, enemies to lovers, fucking A. Like, I'm so excited for this. It just sounds hilarious. And again, it's got those like those rom-commy romance comedy, very much on the comedy romance vibes. So we're here for it. Really excited for this one as well. Accidentally in Love is another one where I just kind of picked it up. I don't like the front cover. I think there's some covers where like they've done the cartoony stuff and it's cute or like wholesome, or even just kind of like not a parody of, but it's just kind of sweet. This one feels like they didn't even try, that they've just been pushing out so many romances that they didn't even really need to think about it. So sorry, Belinda Misson. I think the front cover of your book looks shit, but I'm hoping the content is actually really good. So we have sometimes romance blossoms when you least expect it. Cliches already. In the space of a week, Catherine Patterson has quit her job, decided to move back home and broken up with the guy she thought was the one. No big deal, because Catherine has a plan. She's going to own her own art gallery, just like she's always wanted. What she's not going to worry about is boyfriends. Then she meets Kit, a handsome, talented local artist. He might be the most stubborn person Catherine has ever met. He might also make her feel like no one has before, and Catherine might be about to fall accidentally in love. Now, in Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Redford is an artist, and he's very much a tortured artist, and I like the fact that this is a switch up on that, and he's more of like the arrogant artist. That's kind of what intrigued me about this. And the other thing is, it really reminds me the concept of like losing everything in a day as the undomesticated goddess, which I'm not going to reread because it's so fucking problematic. I know it is, but I really enjoyed it as a teen, and it just seems to have all those kind of like, she loses her job, her boyfriend, and like her life falls apart in a day, and then she has to kind of like recoup it, except in this one she seems to actually have a plan for that. So I'm definitely more intrigued for this one based off of that, knowing that we can never read that again. I'm hoping this isn't problematic, but I suspect there will be toxic behaviour in this one. Yeah, so that's that one. And then the last one is a brand new release. I've only had this like 2 days as of recording this, which is Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson. Loved Renee Watson piecing me together. I have yet to get her What Mama Left Me, and there is another one that has something to do with running, I think. Or running title, I'll put it here when I've remembered what it is. But essentially this is about Nala, who is taken to an open mic night, and she desperately falls in love with the MC. Except the MC is an activist and very outspoken, and she's not sure if she likes that. What she does know is that she likes him enough to lie about the fact that she's an activist as well, and then her lies kind of like spiral out of control, and I get the impression this is going to go either one of two ways. Either she's going to realise that boys are dumb and you don't need to lie to get them to like you, because they'll either like you or they won't, and then just like move on with her life. Or he will accept her for who she is, and she will learn that maybe she is a bit more of an activist than she thought she was. So those are the options. I mean, if Renee Watson has come up with a third one that completely throws me, even more exciting. But yeah, this is the one, like this again, a YA, really excited for this one. So there's a few in here that I'm like really excited for, and a few that I'm like, why did I buy those? You know what I'm saying? So yes, this is my romance TBR, which is not ideal for someone who isn't particularly romantic or particularly interested in romance. I don't know, I'm just not interested. Boys are dumb. Like, let me know what romances are on your general owned TBR. Let me know what your plans are for Valentine's Day, especially if, like me, you are single and you'll be entertaining yourself. Again, didn't mean for that to sound sexual. Just keep me in the loop and have a nice day.